We all know Barcelona's debt is absolutely ridiculous. Leverage here, leverage there, naming rights gone to the Nou Camp, and Barca are no longer the club they used to be. Now, we've all seen a debt-cleared rebuild on Football Manager, but how does this sound? I'm going to make us have £1 billion in the bank and clear all the debt, and I'm not just doing it via youth only. Smart transfers, bringing back tiki-taka, and more importantly, bringing back Barcelona. Now, the current financial situation at Barca is horrendous. They have over £658 million in net debt and £80 million in transfer debt in terms of the profits and losses and sort of a projection for the club. It's not great. We are going to lose a lot of money, but because of the size of the club, we're also going to make a lot of money, which is why I'm doing a rebuild where I'm not just clearing the debt, despite what the title says. I'm going to give Barca £1 billion in the bank by the end of this rebuild. So there's negative £31 million and the £740 million overall debt is gone. We're going to give us plus £1 billion. And the way we're going to do that is bringing Barca back to what they used to be, a tiki-taka diamond masterclass. And we're going to do it by not just using the youth only. That's not saying we're not going to heavily concentrate on them. Smart signings is what we're going to be doing and clearing out some of the older players which take up a lot of wages. Now, for this first season, I'm not making any sales or any transfers. I'm simply going to implement the 4-1-2-1-2 and see how we can get on and rebuild a true tiki-taka system. So at the end of this rebuild, you won't only have the rebuild file available on Patreon, but also a tactic, which is a tiki-taka masterclass. Now, some of the star players I want to touch on for this rebuild is number one, Pau Cabrasi. At 16 years of age, this kid has been incredible at Barcelona, and I'm looking to make him the best centre-back in the world by the end of this rebuild. Obviously, I say the exact same for Gavi and Pedri as well. They are both not necessarily through La Masia Academy, but both have been fantastic since joining Barcelona as youngsters and are both going to be unreal throughout this team. And there's also this kid, Lamine Yamal, but what's quite interesting is we are using a diamond, and I am going to be locking Lamine Yamal to become a striker. So a completely different Lamine Yamal that I've ever used on FM and what you guys have probably ever seen. He is an unreal winger, but can we make him an absolute bagsman and Spain's new number 9? Because that is an issue Spain really have got, is that striking position. And for us here at Barca, other than Lewandowski, there's not a lot of options. So Lamine Yamal is going to be our striker. And in terms of the rest of the youngsters, we've got Pau Victor, who is a great 21-year-old striker, who's a good backup and rotation option. Pablo Torre is someone I like a lot as well and will really suit this tiki-taka system. Gerard Martin is a good backup left-back for Alejandro Balde, and Hector Fort at right-back for Koundé as well. I imagine this guy, by the end of this rebuild, will be our starting right-back. He is unbelievable on FM. Marc Gasardo is unreal. I don't know if this is a new updated version of Marc Gasardo, but I have never seen him this good. He is consistent. He likes big matches. He is 5'8", so he's a little player, a bit like a Xavi, great on the ball, really aggressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can get out of him. And the same goes for Marc Banyal as well. More of a playmaker, 6'2", a bit bigger, more of a Busquets. So we've really got to get that Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta in midfield once again. Dominguez, another youngster, 18 years of age at centre-back. And of course, Fermin as well. We might see how good Fermin gets. We might also cash in. We are going to have to make smart signings and smart sales as well. Someone like ter Stegen, who is, 33, 34 at this point, might end up being sold because we can go out there, get a young goalkeeper who is going to be very similar in terms of ability and a lot cheaper in wages. The same goes for Robert Lewandowski. The same potentially goes for Dani Olmo as well. Frankie de Jong, another one that I think can move so that someone like Marc Gasardo or Marc Banyal can come in to that side. Rafinha doesn't really fit this team. I think potentially we bring Koundé into centre-back and get Hector Fort into that right-back role and sell Araujo. There's going to be a lot of changes to this Barca team, but it's not just a youth-only rebuild, don't worry. We are making some signings, and you're going to see my vision for clearing Barca's debt and making them billionaires. Before we get into the first season, over 70% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so just do me a favour, head down below, hit that subscribe button, because you're not going to regret it. You're going to absolutely love every video on the channel, and I know you love the video so far, so make sure you smash the like button as well. But let's get into this first season with Barcelona. Now, as mentioned, we have made Lamine Yamal a striker here at Barcelona. And that might have been a genius decision. Despite Robert Lewandowski being at the club, Lamine Yamal was our top goal scorer this season with 26 goals. He really found that killer striker instinct, which I didn't know he had on Football Manager. But you can see by his stats how well he is progressing. Despite only having 12 finishing and 13 composure, 26 goals in 58 games with 13 assists. Remember, 16 years of age. It's very easy to forget that. He is just literally a child, and he has just destroyed the top division of Spain and done really well in the Champions League as well. Now, this is, of course, a trophy I want to win throughout this rebuild, but it's not the be-all and end-all. But when this rebuild ends will be when we have £1 billion in the bank. But for now, we are going to look to try and win as many trophies as we can. And we nearly did that in the Champions League in the first season. We got to the semi-finals and were embarrassed by Arsenal. I don't know if it's a good thing that Real Madrid beat them because Arsenal embarrassed us so much, or if Madrid have just added another Champions League to their now 15 tally, which is absolutely outrageous. But I suppose that's like the one they realistically should have got because we are now in 2024 rather than starting 2023. I think it's really easy to forget how long this game has been out for. Well, I started this June 2023. That is mental. Now, the good thing is we didn't go trophyless this season. While we didn't win the Champions League or La Liga, we did end up winning the Spanish Cup in a 1-0 victory over Atletico Madrid. It wasn't exactly a demoralising victory for them, but we did win and we have got a trophy. As mentioned, we've not won the Spanish First Division. We actually came fourth as well, behind Real Sociedad, which is really embarrassing. Atletico Madrid in second and Real Madrid in first. Mbappe top goal scorer. I mean, Madrid is going to be our biggest competition throughout this whole rebuild. How we stop this team, I simply don't know, because they're just going to get better and better, and we haven't got the money to compete with them. Now, the tactic has developed quite a lot since the start of the rebuild already, but as I mentioned, I will show you this at the end of the video because we are going to keep developing it until I'm in love with the tactic. We did lock a few players in this year. Pau Cubarsí at 17, just played 58 games for us as centre-back and is doing so well. Also, I'm going to be going through all of the attributes of the players, especially the youngsters and any youngsters I bring in at the end of the rebuild. So if you're interested in seeing the full progress after however many seasons it takes to get £1 billion in the bank, then stay to the end of the video because that is going to be very interesting to see how much players like Pau Cubarsí grow. Lamine Yamal as a striker, Gavi and Pedri. I've moved Gavi into the cam role and made him more instrumental further up, while Pedri can sit deep as a playmaker. For this box-to-box midfield position, I think we're going to end up settling on someone like Marc Bernal or the other guy, Marc Casado, because them two are really going to be able to go into that role, which means we have got some players to sell. There is a lot of value here at the club. Araujo, Frankie de Jong, that's probably 100 million on them two alone. And I think they're potentially standing in the way of some of the youngsters coming into the first team. So I'm probably going to look to move them on. Ter Stegen was brilliant this season, so I have to see about that. Koundé is great and can fit in at centre-back as well. Christensen's got lots of value, £40 million on him. And of course, we are at Barcelona, so our youth candidates are going to get better and better and better as we go through this rebuild. We already have a 5-star midfielder in Pelliu Pruna, who, I mean, looks outrageous at 15 years of age. We could literally see another child join this Barcelona side. Yannick Chamba is a Cameroonian centre-back who looks good at 16. Marcelo Augusto is a cam/striker. I mean, the youth academy here at Barca is crazy. We know that. 5-star youth recruitment, great facilities, training facilities, and reputation. But we're just so badly in debt, it's painful. We've now gone to £150 million here in the overall balance in debt, and this hasn't changed at all. So we're actually £870 million in debt. And for that reason, the board have given us just £25 million to spend and 120k in wage budget. So I'm going to do some magic. I'm going to sell some of the big players, replace them, and make this team better. Now, in terms of our outgoings, we raised 125 million right off the bat. Araujo to City, Christensen to United, Ferran Torres to Milan, Rafinha to Leipzig, Lewandowski for just £5 million to PSG. And so far, Frankie de Jong out on loan at Atletico Madrid, which is a bit weird, but clearing a lot of wages and a lot of money off our list. So in terms of signings, we need to replace Robert Lewandowski, and the man I've decided to do that is Maximilian Beer. He cost us £28 million, and in his first season, grabbed 24 goals in 32 games, and really solidified himself in that striker position, probably for the whole rebuild. This guy is at Borussia Dortmund in real life. I actually don't know how much he plays for them in real life either, but on FM, he is outrageously good. He's consistent, lights big matches, has great speed while being 6'1", and is a bit like a young Lewandowski from Dortmund, to Bayern, then to Barcelona, but from Dortmund to Barcelona, young, quick, strong, powerful, can finish. I feel like this is a very realistic signing, and the price of just 28 million is an absolute bargain because contract-wise, he's only on 50k a week as well. So we really are saving lots of money. And with him and Lamine Yamal up front, we really did have a two-pronged attack, which teams just couldn't defend. Two outrageously strong strikers, which would constantly assist each other. A long ball over the top, Beer gets onto it and sweats it to Lamine Yamal. A ball through, Lamine Yamal taps it into Beer, and Beer makes it 2. This was a game against Atletico Madrid, which I think just perfectly showed the strike partnership. Now, our next signing is one that was a little bit different to what you might expect. Josip Juranovic coming in from Union Berlin for just £12.5 million, and I think this was a great piece of business. What we were able here to do was move Koundé to centre-back and have Josip Juranovic and Hector Fort as our 2 right-backs. Now, Juranovic is extremely consistent, loves big matches, is 29 years of age, got 9 assists and 3 goals in 12 starts, and cost us just £8.75 million. I think is an absolutely great deal because it's not putting too much pressure on Hector Fort, who can then develop under a brilliant attacking right back. He played quite a few games this season as well. He started 6, 18 off the bench, a goal and assist, a 6.8. He's 18 years of age, but we're not rushing him. We are doing slow development and it's working really well. And my final signing was another different one. It's Mehdi Taremi coming in from Inter Milan. Now, I was worried with the signing of Maxi Beer, to be honest. It's easily done. He's 22 years of age. I wasn't sure how much for bagsman he would be, and we know how much for bagsman Taremi can be. Now, he did start just 7 games, scored 4 goals, and dropped to 6.72, and wants to leave already. He's got a value of £15 million, and we signed him for just 11. So a bit of a no-risk transfer. We could probably sell him this summer for £8-9 million, and it covered us off in case Beer did not do the business. And with them signings, you can see exactly how the team is now progressing. We have still got ter Stegen in goal, Juranovic as our right back, Balde as our left back, Cabrasi and Koundé as our 2 centre backs, with Casado in that DM role. And look how well he is progressing. Daddy Olmo has dropped deeper into the box-to-box playing midfielder role at, what is he now, 27 years of age, without the greatest natural fitness. Good to drop him back into that position. Pedri is a deep-lying playmaker. Gavi slightly further forward with Yamal and Beer up front. I think we've built a team for the future because trying to go for Real Madrid right now would be basically impossible. They have just gone unbeaten over the 38 games and won the league on 102 points. I really don't see the point in trying to send a bunch of older players to this Madrid side. They are going to fall off eventually, and we need to be there to capitalise. But 102 points just says exactly how good this team is. Mbappe 30 goals. Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo and Jude Bellingham, all 4 in the top average ratings charts. They scored 120 goals. We were second on 78 and conceded just 22. I mean, they're an absolute joke, and I just don't know how we compete with them. So my play right now, I'm not going to make any signings the next 2, 3, potentially 4 seasons. I'm going to look to develop these youngsters like Casado, Yamal, Pau Cabrasi, Bernal, Garcia, Olmo, Fort, Darvic into world beaters. So eventually when Madrid starts selling players, we are ready to jump in and become the best team in Spain once again. And obviously with all them sales and a big wage budget decrease, we are doing much better financially, just 2 million negative in the overall balance, and debt is already down to 376 million. So we have basically just cleared off 400 million pounds in one season. That's partly also the reason why I'm going to try and get to 1 billion pounds in the bank, because clearing the debt is actually very easily done. In terms of other youngsters, I'll be bringing up a few other players into the first team as well. Victor Roque is on the transfer list as he obviously left in real life. Tony Fernandez, a great young cam/striker. Jules Fernandez, another really good central midfielder at just 17. Hugo Alba, a good striker. Victor Barbera, a 20-year-old striker. And Alex Vale, a good young left back. Lots of different options in there. And I'm going to look to try and utilise some of them in the first team as well. Youth candidates-wise, another ridiculous intake, and Tony is a good young goalkeeper that could be good for the future. Justin Hartridge, an English midfielder, Enrich, a high potential right winger, we could probably develop him into a striker, and Joe Manuel, a midfielder as well. I'm interested to see where the 5-star midfielder was from last season, Philao Pruna. He is now 16, slightly underdeveloped, which is a bit of a shame, and not getting too much game time, so we might have to see what we can do with him. But using that youth academy is going to be so important to catching up to Madrid. Now, of course, throughout this rebuild, we were also looking to build a tiki-taka system at the same time as clearing Barca's debt and giving them $1 billion in the bank. And I think that is exactly what we are doing. We are here in a 4-0 demolition of Athletic Bilbao. The first goal, a great tiki-taka move, followed up by 2 set pieces. And you're going to see a great goal here, building out straight from the back into the midfield. Really quick one-touch passing and a one-touch finish from Yamal to cap off a beautiful victory. Now, Yamal has slightly slowed down in his development and his ridiculous stats in the season. I say that, 23 goal contributions in 42 games is still pretty good. And he is now officially in the Spain team as well, with 4 goals in 9 games for them as an 18-year-old. And the best thing is, he's actually the striker in that team as well. So we have completely converted Lamine Yamal from a dangerous young, nippy winger to a bagsman. His strike partner, Maxi Beer, though, did not slow down and grabbed another 23 goals in 45 games and seems like the perfect striker to carry on this Barcelona revolution. We did also say goodbye to Frankie de Jong this season. He ended up joining Atletico Madrid on a permanent deal for £52 million. Just clearing off 300k in the wage budget was worth it. And as mentioned, we can develop some incredible young midfielders. Just look at this Barcelona team and what we have created. Marc Casado in DM, Marc Bernal in that box-to-box midfielder role, Pedri and Gavi. That is such a beautiful midfield. And they were really good throughout the whole season. You can see here Gavi grabbing 2 goals, 6.89. Pedri, 6 goals, 7.19. Bernal, 3 goals, 7.01. Casado, 1 goal with 6.93. Age-wise, Casado is 22. Marc Bernal is 19. Already a cap for Spain as well. Pedri, 23. And Gavi will be 21. So all of our midfield under 23 and ready for the future. Hector Fort become our starting right back this season with 22 game starts and was really good on a 6.86 as well. Pau Cabrasi is better than Jules Koundé and has got 7 caps for the Spanish national team at 19 years of age. It is a bit ridiculous how good this Barca Academy is. Now, as mentioned, it's not going to result straight away in trophies. We are still second in Spain. Madrid, 91 points. This was a bad year for them. 5 losses is awful, I know. We had 7. But 79 goal difference. Mbappe scoring 49 goals overall this year with 66 and 16 assists. He currently has 101 goals in 95 games for Real Madrid. Let's hope that injury... it's not a leg breaker. We need him to slow down or go away because he is simply too good. And financially, they are just so rich. They've brought in Nathan Ake, Chiesa, Hjulmand, permanent deal for Chiesa, Torreira, Kariev, Demiral, Juan Hermanda as well as Kikuchu, Zaniolo, Akanji and Mazraoui. They've just got so much money and they're building a ridiculous team. I mean, that is one of the best teams I've ever seen on FM. That is absolutely stunning. Let alone the Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Rudiger, Endrick, Renier, Brahim Diaz in the reserves. Gula, Militao, Vinicius Jr., Valverde, Akanji. How are we meant to compete with this? We're never going to be able to compete with this Madrid side. And sadly, the whole season was a trophyless year. So that is 2 seasons now without a trophy, which is worse than I wanted. We've only won 1 trophy in the first 3 years, being the Spanish Cup. And I think we should have done a little bit better than that. Financially, though, we are becoming what Barcelona should be. We have £213 million in the bank and just £91 million in debt. So we really are on the verge of clearing the debt. And then from there, we should just print money because Barca, I mean, they're one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world. Youth-wise, we have had another striker come through the academy as well, who's a real-life player, Oscar Gistau. I want to touch on a few of these because the Barca Academy is a joke. This guy's just scored 54 goals in 48 games. If you guys are using the updated versions of FM out there, I'm pretty sure any of the Wonder Kid updates that sort of SI, FM Scout, Transfers, FMTU, whatever you're using, will have players like these players in here. This guy's a joke. He's fantastic, either-footed, and he could still become our star striker. And we've had a regen of Pep come through as well. This time as a centre-back, but can play in DM. Imagine we had Pep as our DM. How hilarious that would be. Literally, his name is Pep. Is it anything else? Pep Gratkos. Like Pep Guardiola, but Pep Gratkos. I love it. We might have to try and make him our star. We'll see about that one. But let's get into the next season. Well, it was our best season yet in terms of points tally, but Madrid go Centurion once again with 101 points, but we are making progress. 80 points is very good, and in terms of goal scorers, we have 2 in the top 4. Lamine Yamal, 26 goals, and Maxi Beer, 23. Yamal, 13 finishing, 18 dribbling, 44 goal contributions in 43 games. Wonder Kid isn't the right word for him. Star player and potentially player of the world needs to be his new name. I mean, I don't think so far he'd have got like an award of Ballon d'Or or anything. He did win the Golden Boy in 2023. We're going to try and get Lamine a Ballon d'Or playing as a striker. He was our best player throughout the whole season in average rating, closely followed by Alejandro Balde and Maxi Beer as well, both on a 7.28. We haven't really touched on Alejandro Balde. He's easy to forget because he's so good. He's 23 years of age. He just doesn't seem like it. He's outrageous, and I haven't really mentioned him because he's just a shoe-in starter, isn't he? He's one of the best left-backs in world football, and he's, 19 in real life? So fair play to him. But yeah, he's been great for us. Cabrasi, 7.19, 4.5-star ability, world-class, and is just a joke. 7 goals in 41 games from centre-back. He is outrageously good, like an absolute star. Dani Olmo, 24 goal contributions in 21 starts. Iñaki Peña as our backup. Gerard Martin as left back has been pretty good. 25 years of age now. Really good backup left back to Alejandro Balde. Noah Darvic is someone we've not really touched on yet either. And I think it's time we do because he's growing into quite a player. He has now played 93 games for us with 24 goals, and this year grabbed 28 goal contributions in 37 games. I think this is probably the play for the future and what we most often use in the game, with Darvic in the cam role, Pedri and Gavi in midfield, with Casado in DM. That gives us some pretty good backup options as well, with Dani Olmo and Marc Bunyal and Firmine still here. Up front, we have still got Yamal and Beer in terms of the backups. We are still using Taremi and Ansu Fati, as well as Pau Victor. And in the defence, Juranovic isn't the starter. It's Hector Fort. He's doing bits. Koundé, Cabrasi, Balde. Someone like Eric Garcia has also played 43 games for us this season. Of course, through the academy, moved to City, came back, and is doing really, really well as the partner to Pau Cabrasi. Now, sadly, this season does mean it's 3 years in a row without winning a trophy, so that does have to change. If we don't win one next season, I'm going to delve back into the transfers and try and bring in some good players, because financially we are now £387 million in the bank, and the debt, ladies and gentlemen, is gone, other than £3 million in transfer debt. So basically, we are now mega rich. The board are trying to give us £300 million to go and spend as well. So they're trying to get us to spend some money to become that powerhouse. And realistically, to become a billionaire club, we are going to have to start winning Champions League, potentially back-to-back Champions Leagues, and dominate the world. So there is going to be a point when we have to switch into becoming a powerhouse side of the transfer market as well. But for now, I think for another season at least, we have to give the youngsters another season. And that has certainly paid off, because we have got some trophies this season, starting off with the Super Cup, a 1-0 victory over Girona, thanks to that man Maxi Beer once again. And we actually ended up doing a domestic double as well in a Spanish Cup final, 5-5 penalty victory against Real Madrid. And Lamine Yamal grabbed 4 goals in this game, beating Vinicius Junior's hat-trick with a 90th minute equaliser. No, Tchouaméni equalised in the 93rd. Oh, that's heartbreak. But it didn't matter because Bellingham, Vinicius Junior and Tchouaméni missed penalties while Olmo, Lamine Yamal and Pedri scored. We had just 9 shots, scored 5 goals. Yamal is just an absolute joke. It's another 32-goal season with 10 assists. I think the combination of ridiculous dribbling, speed and finishing is just making him unplayable. And it was the first time in the whole rebuild where Real Madrid really just couldn't keep up with this Barcelona side. Lamine Yamal was the thorn in their side and got us off to a great start at the brand new Nou Camp with a 1-0 lead against the mighty Galacticos. Noah Darvic then burst through and chipped Courtois with an audacious effort to make it 2. We'll actually go on to absolutely embarrass them. Gavi and Casado linking up. Gavi once again driving into the box and finding that man Noah Darvic, or actually an own goal for Nathan Ake. Absolutely peak for him. But a fourth is coming as well with Marc Bunyal finding Noah Darvic, Darvic finding Beer. The one-touch football is stunning. A 4-0 victory. Madrid have been battered and we dominated them in possession as well. And dominated them in the league with 88 points and finally lifted the Spanish First Division. I knew it would come. We just needed time to really blood the youngsters into it and make them the stars of the world. 88 points, 69 goal difference, just 4 losses throughout the whole entire season. We scored 97 goals, still a few less than Real Madrid, but conceded the least on 28. Our defence is now fantastic and keeping 60% possession, meaning the tiki-taka days of Barcelona are back. You can see from the data hub just how dominating we have made this Barcelona side with 2.55 goals a game, conceding just 0.74. And in terms of the whole squad, we have built a dominant strike partnership. Yamal and Beer up front, and average rating-wise, Yamal, Balde, Koundé, Olmo, Darvic, Beer, Pedri, Gavi, Bunyal, Firmino even on there, ter Stegen, Cabrasi, Hector Fort, Gerard Martin, Casado, Garcia, Fati. It is just full of Barca youngsters. And it's beautiful. The team is absolutely stunning. And I think we've rebuilt Barca in the correct way. Financially, over £550 million in the bank. So we are halfway there. But I am now going to spend some money and rebuild this Barca side ever so slightly to get us to be Champions League winners. Because that is something which still eludes us. Despite the domestic treble, we were knocked out in the round of 16 to Liverpool in the Champions League. And as a competition, we really haven't done very well in, compared to Madrid, who are now on to 18 Champions Leagues, which means they have won 4 of the 5 in this simulation. So just to beat them in the league is, I mean, really good enough. I'm quite happy to leave it there, actually. I'm not, obviously. We need to clear lots of debt still. But we just... Competing with this team was a joke. They are just stupid. Are they still spending lots of money on lots of different players? Wilfred Singo, 45. Martinez and Silla, another 80 million. Team is just full of stars. It's just ridiculous. So I've kind of joined them on the spending, but also kind of not, because I have sold £59 million off of players. Most notably, Dani Olmo has gone to Al Hilal, Firmino to Al Uwaida, Ansu Fati to Al Hazim, ter Stegen to Al Nassr, and Juranovic has gone as well. I thought it was time for the Stegen to move on and start bringing in some new players to this side. Now, the goalkeeper I have gone with to be Barca's new number 1 is Martin van der Voort. Now, this is a weird one. I am fully aware that this is not the choice that Barcelona fans would probably pick to be their number 1, but I think he's really good. If we compare him to Marc-Andre ter Stegen, there is obviously some differences, but only really in shot stopping and distribution. Actually, as a physical bodied player, at just 26 years of age as a goalkeeper, I think he's really good. He's also 6'4". Important attributes on FM like area reach, he dominates. Jumping reach, he does win. Shot stopping wise, ter Stegen wins, but it's not. They're not very comparable. Ter Stegen's a joke, all right. But moving on for the future, I think Van der Voort's a good signing. I'm convinced. On from that, I went to Regions and decided to go back to the Barca ways of bringing in some of the best wonder kids in the world. Andre Fernandes was my choice at right back, a Portuguese right back. It cost us £22 million, but he has 5-star potential and really can become a world beater. Next up was young striker Paul Alhassan from Villarreal, not Valencia. He is more just a really good young Spanish striker with a crazy value. Signed for just £1.9 million. I sort of was scouting strikers, had a bit of a gap in the market and brought him in before signing a real superstar and almost bringing a brand new Lionel Messi to Barcelona. Ramiro Rolón Martinez is a young Argentinian central attacking midfielder who is fantastic on his right foot rather than the left of Messi, has extreme consistency, 16 finishing, isn't outrageously quick, but is ridiculous on the ball, and I think could be the new Leo Messi for Barcelona. Now, I don't think he's going to start. I think Noah Davic still has that starting position, but going forward, he certainly could get that role. And I think it's time to go through this Barca team fully again. Van der Voort in goal, for Balde, Cabrasi, Koundé as our back four, Banyal, Gavi, Pedri, Davic, Yamal, and Beer as the striker. So that is only two major differences to the starting 11 in Beer and Van der Voort. The rest of them you could very feasibly see in real life, which I think is very impressive of Barca to have that trait for them. Iñaki Peña as our backup goalkeeper, Fernandez backup right back, Garcia, Chamba and Torrents as our back four. Obviously Chamba was one of the first young players we saw come through the academy, and Torrents I believe is a youngster here at Barca already. Very good ability on him, a young left back. Casado, Gil Fernandez, Fila Pruna and Rolón Martinez is our midfield. So Casado obviously through the academy, 3.5 star ability player, really good. Gil Fernandez, really good 21-year-old midfielder, and Pruna was the 15-year-old from the start, has developed into being a really good squad player for us, and Rolón Martinez as the backup cam, with Al Hassan and Gistau as our backup strikers. Gistau developing now into a 2.5 star striker and could be a star. We have got the likes of Dominguez, Espar, David Villa, Enrique, Gerard Martin and Jorge Sainz all still in the squad as well, littered with youngsters through the academy. If we check out the homegrown status, there is just 3 players in Van der Voort, Beer, Koundé. We then have Fernandez, that will be homegrown at club. Martinez, who sadly won't. The rest are all homegrown at club, other than Awasan, Martin and Garcia, who are homegrown in nation. So very cool to see a really youth-dominated, but not entirely Barcelona side, which I think can now go on to really challenge for the Spanish division every season, can potentially now go on to the Champions League and the 2 Spanish Cups as well. And obviously with our transfer spend, it was a net positive £6 million raised. So financially, it's not done really anything bad for us. We are now up to £750 million in the bank. So we are getting close to that 1 billion mark already. We haven't yet lifted the Champions League. And that's, of course, the competition that we are going for in every single season from now on. We have just finished 13th in the league phase, but then we have to go into the knockout playoff round, which is really annoying for this first season. Now, we did beat Monaco 4-1 in the knockout playoff round, but that drew us up against Manchester United, who we lost 4-2 against, who got all the way to the final and lost to Real Madrid. Madrid have now won it 5 out of 6 seasons. How do we stop them? How do we actually stop Madrid from just lifting every single trophy they ever set their hands on? Because they've come back with a vengeance this year. They've won the Spanish First Division on 98 points, nearly doing another Centurion season. They're just an absolute joke. They're relentless. They're stupidly good. I don't know how you stop Real Madrid on FM. They've now got Jonas Erving in goal, who's kept 20 clean sheets. Mbappe and Kikuchu, top of player of the matches. Vinicius Junior and Mbappe in the goal scorers. Mbappe, Camavinga, Kikuchu in the average rating. Mbappe, a 7.8 average rating. Now, he is 30 years of age, so he is slowly slowing down. But he has absolutely dominated the Ballon d'Or in every single season since the start of this. Marcus Rashford at United. I'm telling you, we need to keep him. We need to keep Marcus. Look at him, second place, my absolute GOAT. But Mbappe, 5 in a row. I mean, he's on course here to do Messi and Ronaldo numbers. It's an absolute joke. And Haaland's not even won one yet. Poor guy, man. Imagine Haaland never won the Ballon d'Or. That would make me so happy. But it also means Lamine Yamal hasn't won one, despite being one of the best players I've ever seen on FM. 29 goal contributions, 27 caps for the Spanish national team, 21 years of age, remember. Of course, still being an absolute bagsman. Finishing composure is going up a lot as well, which is good to see. And at just 21, the composure and mentals can grow for another 5, 6, 7 years, and he really could become one of the best strikers we ever see. But overall, it wasn't a standout season. It also wasn't a bad season. Let's be honest, we are up against an absolute joke in Real Madrid, and to do what we're doing, I think, is impressive enough as it is. Balde with 7.28, Beer 7.18, Yamal 7.18, Gustavo 15 goals, 7 assists in 23 games. I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of him, but Oscar Gustavo, if he's on your saves, he's now got 4 caps to the Spanish national team. I've not done too much development on him. I left him in the B team, eventually brought him up, and he's done so well since coming up as well. So really impressed with him. Our brand new Messi as well had a great first season. 36 games overall with 10 goals, 3 assists, just 9 of them starts, but progressing into a star. He has 17 finishing as well, so potentially a striker one day, but for now, a really good cam. But with just the 1 trophy in the Spanish Super Cup this season, runners-up in the Spanish Cup, losing the league to Real Madrid and losing the Champions League, I feel a little bit defeated. And I don't want to spend any more money because I want to get that £1 billion. But the Champions League is still not quite in our grasp yet. So season 7, let's see if we can make it possible and also try and reach that 1 billion mark. Another reminder, if you haven't yet, make sure you're liking the video, and also 70% of you are not subscribed. If you're on minute 40 of this read but you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Now this season was our best yet in the Spanish First Division. 96 points and Barcelona are back on top. 2 out of 3 seasons, I'm absolutely buzzing with that. We've spent negative money in this rebuild. We have blooded the youth and made Barca a top side once again. I can leave this very proud. Second in most seasons. I mean, in the last 5 seasons, second twice, 2 victories. Sorry, second 3 times, 2 victories against the Madrid side that just win everything. I've now got 19 Champions Leagues and are just an absolute joke. But overall, I'm very, very happy. We have won the league once again. Possession-wise, we are 1% behind Atletico Madrid, but goal scoring 97, conceding 24. The tiki-taka tactic, I think, is about complete. So I'm going to quickly just go through that with you now, as I've not changed it in a couple of seasons. I'm going to just click through each position, and you guys can pause and copy if you would like to at any point. This is another good point for me to mention with the Patreon. If you do want to help support the channel down below, £5 a month, you get access to this tactic on a direct download and all of the rebuild files we make here on the channel as well. And of course, it helps support your boy out massively. We are set to a positive mentality as well. In possession, we are shorter passing, slower tempo, dribble less, be more expressive, work ball into box. We really are trying to keep that possession. And you can get an instant download to this tactic on the Patreon, and he helped me out massively. Now, that is a very good season in the Spanish First Division, but how are we going to do in the Champions League? Now, for the first time in a long time, we dominated in the league phase and finished in the top 8 with 5 victories, 2 draws and 1 loss, sending us straight to the round of 16. Now, in the round of 16, we faced up against AS Monaco, and I've got to say, it was a much harder game than I realised, with a 3-2 victory on aggregate, the winner coming from Marc Bernal. In the quarterfinals, though, we were facing up against Bayern Munich and got a little bit embarrassed at the Nou Camp. We made it 1-0 thanks to a goal from Maxi Beer, but we didn't score anymore, and Bayern scored 3 when we had to go to the Allianz Arena to keep our Champions League dreams alive. And that is exactly what we do. When you build a team up through mainly the academy, you build a team full of fighting spirit and absolute passion for the badge. Gavi and Pedri linking up to make it 1-0, and we grabbed a second, equalising the tie in the 45th minute through Maxi Beer with a backheel outrageous effort into the top corner as well to make it 2-0. But now then found Balde in the 70th minute, who drives the byline, cuts it in, the ball falls to Darvic. He makes it 3-0 in the 70th minute, and that was it for the tie. And we have beaten Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals and are sending ourselves into the semis. Well, we faced up against another financial powerhouse, this time in Newcastle United. They have become one of the best teams in the world, but we are also pretty good. Hector Fort makes it 1-0 in 42 minutes for Lamine Yamal. Finds the ball back to Hector Fort once again. Beats his man, drives out wide, drills it in, and Maxi Beer is there for a second. Now, Newcastle were no slouches. They did grab a goal in this game. Glagovic, as the left back, gets the ball, beats his man, whips it in. A header for Alex Isaac, who for some reason is still at Newcastle. And what is he doing in the year 2028 or 9 at this point? Still playing at Newcastle. Embarrassing. No passion whatsoever. He should come and join United. He would love it here. I promise he would. But that was a 2-1 victory in the semi-finals. But we have to go now to the mighty Geordies and keep them from beating us. And we did get off to a pretty good start of that as well. As a corner was whipped in, the ball bobbled about and eventually fell to that man, Lamine Yamal, to poke home into the back of the net in 11 minutes. But Alexander Isak, why he's still at Newcastle is because he is powering them in to Champions League final contention. He grabbed a penalty early on before scoring once again to level the game up. And the game went all the way to the 94th minute before our Lionel Messi regen, Rolo Martinez, scored from the spot and sent Barca to the final. I'd just like to say what a fantastic signing this was. 18 goal contributions in 12 starts, costed just £5.5 million, and has come into one of the biggest clubs in the world and been a really good option. And when someone like that really performs in a Champions League finals, it really gives you that sense of pride that you have rebuilt a team in the correct way. A ball into the box, a header at the back stick, a 1-0 lead, then grabs the ball once again to find Guy Stau to finish past Mamardashvili to make it 2-0. And on the stroke of half-time, he put the Champions League final to bed as Casado found him in the box. He spun his man and finished with that dangerous left foot for a 3-0 victory and made Barcelona Champions League winners in season number 7. And the best thing about it, that Champions League win had made us billionaires. We have £1,024 million in the bank. So anyone looking to go on a mental spending spree and enjoy yourself on FM, this save file is perfect for you, especially if you're a Barcelona fan, because I'm not going to go through a bunch of the youngsters we have here at the club who have impressed me to an absolute different level and have gone on to become some of the best players I've ever seen on FM. Pau Cabrasi certainly fits that bill. 37 caps for the Spanish national team now. In terms of his progression through attributes of all time, you can see just how well he's got up mentally, physically, and to be fair, defensively to start off with. He's so good anyway. He's not gone off that much. 16 marking, 15 heading, and 15 tackling. All he's got up in there is 2 heading. He's just already an absolute genius when it comes to defending in real life. Marc Bernal is the second best player at the whole club. A club with the likes of Lamine Yamal as a superstar. This guy is set down as the second best player. He is the Spanish central defensive midfielder, and we have seen so much growth of him. Physically, he is so quick. Mentally, a real top-tier talent. And technically, a superstar as well. Being 6'2", we really have now got our very own Sergio Busquets in that DM role. Gavi is listed as the third best player for us. Someone that I would certainly expect to be in that ballpark as well. Has gone up decently as stats, but nothing crazy. Pedri the same, I'm not going to touch on. Rod, I'm not going to touch on. Noah Darvic, we know how good this guy can get on FM. 20 goal contributions in this last season. Nearly 1 in every stat technically is mental. Mentally 6 in some stats, growing really well, and physically into a star as well. He has done so well in this rebuild to break in to that midfield. Lamine Yamal is someone that I'm really interested to see as well, because we have of course made him a striker. Let's have a look at these stats at the base. 20 flair is great. Good finishing and composure, which is going to grow as he gets older and older as well. All-time progression, interesting to see. It's not gone crazy, but mentally he's gone up quite a lot, especially composure, decision making, the bits you need as a striker. Rather than going to 20 dribbling, he's gone better in finishing, good penalty taking, good technique, really developing into a very different player, which has been really interesting and quite fun. Really good balance as well. He needs the strength +3 to hold off defenders. A new Lamine Yamal. After that, I'm going to move on to Marc Casado up next at 26 years of age. Has done really well to progress into a superstar player for us. Not actually a lot of progression, especially technically no progression. Mentally a little bit, technically and physically only a little bit. But good to see him doing really well for us. Oscar Guistau was someone I want to touch on. This season, 11 goals for us was really, really good. Progress-wise, checking out the all-time growth. Major in dribbling, finishing, first touch, heading, long shots, technically gone up loads, mentally gone up loads, physically gone up loads, 8 in stamina. Really good to see that from someone like this. +3 determination as well. Give this guy a go on your saves. He could be the next big thing. Hector Fort as our right back was really, really good all-time attacking wingback, mainly physically and mentally going up, actually decreasing in some technicals, which is interesting. We're becoming a much more well-rounded defender for us. Next up, we're going to touch on probably... that could potentially be it. I mean, Fidel Pruna, we obviously touched him at the start of this rebuild, has gone into a really good midfielder for us. Nothing bad at all about him. I really, really like him. You can develop him into an absolute star. We have made Barcelona the best team in Spain and the best team in Europe, the best team in the world once again, while clearing the debt and giving them £1 billion in the bank. Thanks so much for watching the Barca clear debt £1 billion rebuild. If you have enjoyed, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll speak to you next time.